At www.spreaker.com, create your own radio show and find thousands of exclusive radio channels.
Peace, this is Brother Hatim. I'm at the end of another mile 3, but of course I'm not doing this one on mile 3 because I'm keeping up with my stories. And this story that I'm going to do for you today is one that is close to my heart because it has a lesson that I am working on mastering. Yes, I admit it. I am guilty of the crime that this parable talks about. So, first giving shouts out to Oxy Water. Give it a try. If you're trying to make some lifestyle changes, it's a one-stop drink. It not only provides hydration, but it provides minerals. It provides some B vitamins. It provides some ginseng. And it also has no sugar. So go and look it up at www.tryoxywater.com. Also, check out Orange 82 that provides me with my intro and exit music when I do my show live. And I know I haven't done a live show in a couple of weeks, but I've been busy and I got other excuses, but I won't bore you with my excuses. I just give you my apology and keep it moving, and we will get back on track soon. So stick with me. All right, now, so this story is entitled The Swans and the Turtle, the adult version. So please send the kids out. So a long time ago, when animals still communicated with each other, and I'm about to come up with the story for why animals no longer communicate between each other as well as with human beings. That's another story. Well, anyway, you had this turtle in this beautiful lake, and the lake was surrounded by some beautiful woods, a forest, and behind the forest was a beautiful mountain. So use this time to meditate and see this beautiful lake, the sun shining down on it, and surrounded by a beautiful forest that's full of animals. And that is in the background is a very high and majestic mountain. And this turtle had lived here for ages. No one knew how old the turtle was, and I'm not going to ask the turtle how old the turtle was, and where I got the story from didn't say how old the turtle was, so that don't make a damn difference how old the turtle was, but he was old enough to know everything about the lake. He knew how deep the lake was. He knew how big the lake was. He knew the perfect places to catch the best fish. He knew the best places that if you like to eat bugs, where he could send you to find the best bugs. He knew where the mosquitoes bred at. He knew where the flies bred at. He knew everything about the lake. He knew when the temperature was off, and he knew what the average temperature was supposed to be. He knew everything about the forest around him. He knew each tree. He could tell you what type of tree it was. He could tell you why the leaf was in the shape it was, and he could tell you what the tree needed for the optimal lifestyle of that tree. He could tell you about all the animals in the forest because he had been studying each and every last one of them. And he could also tell you about the mountain in the back. He could tell you why the mountain was there. He could tell you how high the mountain was. He could tell you about the rocks that formed the mountain. He not only could tell you about everything around there, he could tell you about the stars that went across the sky at night, and tell you about each constellation that appeared, and tell you the story behind each constellation that appeared. And he could tell you about the sun. He could tell you the exact temperature of the sun. He could tell you how big the sun was, how much bigger it was than the earth. And he knew before scientists knew from his observation that the earth rotated around the sun rather than the sun rotating around the earth. This turtle was brilliant. But he talked. So he spent a lot of time by himself because nobody wanted to know all this information all the time. He would just chase people away with his conversation. He talked more than Mr. Brown. Or better yet, Brother Hatim. He spoke more than me. Think about that. This turtle would talk. So one day, in this beautiful lake, surrounded by this beautiful forest, with the majestic mountain in the back, there was 2 swans born. And anybody ever seen swans know that they are beautiful once they become full grown. But from our fables when we was young, we know that they start off as little ugly duckling-like things. And the turtle stumbled across them, and they was concerned about how they looked and how other people was making fun of them, or other animals was making fun of them. And the turtle told them about their destiny, and he told them how beautiful they would become and how everybody would marvel at how beautiful they were. And he sat there and he made these swans feel good about themselves. And since they was young and they wanted to learn about the world, who better to teach them about the world than this talkative turtle? And this turtle took advantage of it, and he spoke with these little swans every day, and he taught them everything that he could about that lake, about that forest, about each and every animal that came to drink at the lake, and about every animal and every rock over on that majestic mountain in the back. So, as these swans grew, everything that the turtle had told them about themselves came true. They became very beautiful and majestic, and animals looked at them in awe and looked at how beautiful they were. Either they were looking at the swans, marveling at their beauty, or looking at them and licking their lips, wishing that they could get a hold of them. But because the turtle taught them so well, they knew exactly where to go and where not to go. They knew exactly what animals to talk to and what animals not to talk to. Oh, these were some wise swans. Well, as time went on, the lake eventually began to dry up. Yes, and nobody knew why, not even the turtle. The turtle went through all of his calculations and all of his thoughts about what was going on, but he couldn't figure out what was going on, and eventually the beautiful lake that was once a beautiful lake became a puddle. All the fish disappeared. All of the animals began to leave. Even the forest began to dry up, and nobody knew why. So one day, the swans, out of desperation for food, jumped up and flew away. And they flew over the forest, and as they flew, they talked about what their turtle friend had told them about the animals that they saw leaving the forest. They remember what the turtle told them about each of the trees and the plants that grew and the herbs that they were able to eat when they were sick to get well, because the turtle was able to direct them and guide them to a good life. And they spoke fondly about their friend turtle. And they flew up and over the mountain. And as they flew over the mountain, they remembered everything that the turtle had taught them about the mountain. They knew exactly how high it was, so they knew exactly how high they had to fly to get over this mountain. And they flew up and over the mountain, and as they flew over the mountain, they still reminisced about everything that their friend turtle taught them. And they flew, and it seemed like they flew for a very long time. And eventually they flew across another forest, and they saw new animals that they had never saw before, and they began to talk amongst themselves and wonder if the turtle knew about these new animals. And they landed in a more majestic and a more beautiful lake. And they ate their fill, and they stayed there for a couple of days. And as night approached on one of the days that they was there, they saw the stars go across the sky, and they remembered everything that their friend Turtle taught them about the stars, and they began to feel bad that they left their friend Turtle in this puddle that was once a great lake to die. So they took it upon themselves and discussed and decided that they would fly with the rising of the sun back to the lake to get the turtle. So they jumped up and flew back out of the lake and over the new forest and towards the mountain, and they flew and they flew, and they saw the mountain from a distance, and they got happy because they knew that they would be with their friend Turtle again. And they flew over the mountain, and they flew over the forest, and they saw that the forest that was once beautiful was now dried and almost dead. And they found a single puddle surrounded by mud. And it just so happened that in this puddle, this wise turtle had pushed his butt back into the mud so that he would not dry up. And the swans landed and said, "Brother Turtle, we are so sorry that we left you, but we had to go get some food, and we are back to take you to our new home. The only issue is that you can't walk." and we can't walk because it's much too far for you to walk. So the turtle thought about the problem, and he walked off into the woods, and he came back. And he brought a long stick with him, and he told his swan friends, he said, listen, one swan grabbed the stick at one end, the other swan grabbed the other stick at the other end, and I will grab and bite in the middle, and you will fly me to my new home. Now the swans knew that this was an excellent idea because the turtle was wise, but they was concerned because they knew that the turtle wouldn't be able to keep his mouth shut. They said, Brother Turtle, we love your idea, but we need to come up with a backup plan because you're going to run your mouth. So we know that you need to be able to control yourself. So what we need you to do is when you want to talk, just raise your hand. Raise your hand, and we will land no matter where it is, and we will listen to you and have a conversation to keep off, and then get back on the sticks and fly. So the turtle agreed, and he bit down, and the swans grabbed their end, and they took off flying, and they flew over the forest. And before they get out the forest, the turtle was just bursting with something he wanted to tell them. He rose his hand, they landed, and the turtle discussed the thing with him. He told them about the forest, he told them about the trees, he showed them some new herbs, he even pointed out a few strange new animals that these swans had never seen in this dying forest. And then they said, Turtle, we got a long way to go, man. Could you just bite on the stick so we can go? So the turtle shut up, bit on the stick. The swans grabbed their hand, took off, and they flew up and over the mountain. But before they get over the mountain, the turtle was just busting with something, and he just raised his hands, mumbling, and they landed, and the turtle told him about the mountain. And he talked for a while. He said, Turtle, we got a long way to go. We need you to just hold off as long as you can so that we could get here before nightfall. So the turtle grabbed the stick, and they grabbed the two ends of the stick, and they took off, and they flew up and over the mountain, and they flew, and it seemed like a long time, and the turtle was able to be quiet, but then he noticed the new forest, and he got excited. And he saw animals that amazed him, but he knew about them, and he wanted to tell his friends, and he was just dying. And then, on top of his excitement, out the corner of his eye, he could see this new lake, and it was beautiful. And the sun was going down over it, causing it to reflect the light up, and it was a red color, and he was just so amazed, and he wanted to tell his friend about the size of refraction and why the light was red, and he said, hey! And he started falling, and he was falling, and he was falling, and he was screaming, and he was falling, and he was falling, and splat! The damn turtle, our dear friend Turtle, died from the fall because he forgot to raise his hand and he opened his mouth. And the swans sat there and they landed by him and they started crying because they really missed his friend, the swan. And I feel their pain. And they missed the turtle. Well, needless to say, the swans used the knowledge that the turtle had gave them to live a long and prosperous life. But the turtle, because he couldn't keep his mouth shut for a moment, died. Now the lesson in this is one of them. I'm quite sure you could pick up some other ones, but sometimes it's good just to keep your mouth shut. Especially when the expectations have been set for you to keep your mouth shut, and there's a process that you need to follow in order to be able to talk. Follow the process if you're involved with the process, because if not, you will fall to your death. And sometimes, some things don't need to be said. Just keep your mouth shut, or you may fall from a height that you may not be able to survive. And your friends will sit around and they will mourn your passing, but they will move on with their fucking lives as they're supposed to. So listen and learn. And this has been Brother Hatim with the GIV Journey. I've enjoyed my time with you, and I hope you enjoyed your time with me, and I hope you got the lesson, and I hope you tune back in for some more stories so that we can learn as adults, because many of us didn't sit on our elders' laps or sit at their feet when they told stories, because we stopped telling stories because for some strange reason we thought that we outgrew this tradition, when this is the way that wisdom was passed on. So take this story, take the cuss words out, and teach your children to shut up. Thank you. And you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, or late night. And I pray that your day will be as beautiful as you are. Peace. This is Brother Hatim. Thank you for your time. And hopefully this will push me past my 5,000 listener. Thank you. Peace. Pass it on to your friends. Forward it. It's a good story.